Good morning to all my dear students. We meet once again to talk about friction. Let us first of all try and understand what friction is. Have you ever seen this kind of a poster or a sign on a wet floor when somebody is cleaning the floor in hotels, in lobbies, on airports? Many other places there is this signboard which is put up, slippery when wet, and they show a man who is just sleeping and about to fall. Next to that is another man who is already falling. There is also a third kind of floor which is not wet, but it is made so smooth and so shining, like a glass finish, that once again there is some difficulty in walking on such floors. Every one of us must have experienced some or the other kind of this kind of difficulty since our childhood. There are still some more pictures. Let us look at these pictures. Here we can see a shoe. But look at the sole of this shoe. It is very smooth and probably it is very straight and without any serrations. Look at this shoe. Lot of serrations and embellishments on the sole of this shoe. Some idea is coming into your mind what is the difference between these two shoes. A third picture shows people walking barefoot without shoes. But then once again on the floor there is some mat which is aiding that person to walk. Let us look at another example. Here is a set of wheels. Lot of serrations on these wheels. You can see these serrations over here, over here, over here. As against that, a very smooth wheel. Anybody who has driven a cycle or a scooter or a motorbike or a car would know the difference between these two. A smooth wheel, entirely smooth wheel versus a wheel with all these embellishments. What happens is this. If you have a wheel of this nature on this car, however much you try to stop this car, brake with all your efforts, something wrong is going to happen. This is the starting point. This is where we have to ask ourselves. All these examples, 1, 2, 3, are our daily experiences, our life experiences since our childhood. But we have never asked ourselves, maybe somewhere in your physics you have learned some concepts about what helps and what does not help. Today we are going to talk specifically about friction. Everybody by now has some idea about what friction is. Here, if it is wet, it is slippery. In this case, if it is very smooth, finished like a glass, once again there is a problem in walking. You have very smooth shoes, problem in walking. Serrated shoes, good for running, jogging, no accidents. Wet floors, without any shoes, you need anti-skid mats. Mats which will not have any problems to walk on. Wheels on cycle, on scooter, on motorbike, on car, if you have very smooth, problem in driving, no control on your braking. Wheels of this kind, good control. What does this all lead to? This is all about friction. If you have a clear understanding about how friction helps or how it does not help, both of these are issues which we are going to learn today. So let us go back to this floor versus this floor. Here it is very smooth, people have to walk fast on it, but they have to be very careful. In this case, it is going to be wet over here, and yet, because of this mat, there is going to be no difficulty in spite of all the water. This is actually a swimming pool. On the side of the swimming pool, there will always be some water spilled. and therefore there might be always be some accidents when people will slip and fall. But this mat is their lifesaver. Similarly, if you have good wheels, why do we keep changing? Why are we advised to keep changing wheels very regularly? Once they become very smooth, all the serrations are lost, you are advised to replace the wheels because they help you control your motions. Everywhere behind all the scenes is the concept of friction. Friction helps us to control motion. Friction also helps us to increase efficiency. Now we will go into the technical terminology. It helps us in some cases to increase the efficiency. When efficiency is increased, work is reduced. So, difficulty to walk on wet and very smooth floors, anti-slip mats as we have seen, shoes in the previous slide designed to grip on the floor, very good grips through the serrations on the sole, and all your vehicles need good wheels in order to have better control. Therefore, let us see what is this magic word called friction. So far, we have only studied these kinds of forces. There is certain body, on that body naturally there will be the force of gravity acting. That means we are talking about the self weight of that particular body. We have learned so far that against that self weight there is always a force normal to that self weight. So this is all that we have studied so far. You have F normal and you have F gravity. This was assuming that there is no tangential force acting on this body. What happens when there is a tangential force acting on this body? Like we have shown over here. Let us say we have a body, that same problem, it has its own self weight and therefore naturally there will be a normal force which is equal and opposite. We have already learned about equilibrium of forces. If there is an external force F applied to this body, there is going to be definitely some equal and opposite force which is going to balance this force F. This force F is what we are interested in. We will call this force the frictional force. Now, when will friction not be there? In this case, we have assumed that there is a gravity and there is normal force. This will happen only when the surface is so smooth that tangential direction is not resisted. But in reality, all surfaces are always rough. Such extremely smooth surfaces will also have some amount of tangential forces. So this roughness is something that was ignored so far when you are talking about normal forces. But now when this force comes into picture, the roughness of the surface will also come into picture. That roughness is going to resist somewhat this force. Therefore, a small idea comes into our mind now preliminarily that the roughness of the surface is going to create some sort of forces which are going to resist the horizontal forces, external horizontal forces. This tangential force is called friction. Let us try to define friction now. Friction is defined as the tangential force that is developed between two surfaces when they try to slide against each other. We have this surface, the surface of the body, and we have this surface, the surface of the supporting structure. Between these two surfaces, there will be some roughness, and that roughness is going to cause certain resistance to the movement of this body. This force is called the frictional force. So, in other words, when one body tries to slide over the other, there will always be a frictional force which is generated exactly in the direction opposite to the movement of the body. If the body is trying to move in this direction, then the frictional force is going to be caused in the opposite direction. This is friction. Let us talk about three-dimensional bodies now. The car is trying to move. There will always be the self weight, and this is the self weight, this is the normal force. But when the car tries to move, there will be always some frictional force which will be created where? Between the wheels and the surface of the road. That is friction. Some more examples of friction. What is this? Bearings. Everyone has seen this kind of bearing. What happens when these bearings, one or two of these bearings disappear? Or what happens when there is no lubrication? What happens? This is the pedal of a bicycle. What happens when the bearings or the lubrication is lost between these? Another example, power screws. These are the screws. You fit them by hand or you can fit them by whatever mechanism, machines. Power screws also will always be having some resistance when you push them through in their holes. Another example of machines is gears. All kinds of gears. What are gears? They are sliding one over the other. There is always surface to surface friction. Here also there is surface to surface friction. Surface to surface friction here. This is where the friction is going to be used. These are the examples of engineering where friction comes into picture. You have good friction, you can control these gears. If you are not able to control your friction, then you are not able to control the movement of these gears. We desire to minimize the retarding force. Let us try to understand this concept. If you are trying to push this screw inside, you keep on turning, there will always be some resistance given by this body, and you are working against the resistance that is provided by the body in order to put the screw right in there till the bottom. So what are you trying to do? The moment you are able to remove, minimize or make this force, this resisting force as little as possible, your work is definitely going to be much less. Here also, if the gears are smooth, they are functioning very well, then the work that is required from this machine is going to be less. As much as friction you are trying to retard, in this particular case, it is going to help you. Efficiency improves, work decreases. Once again, in order to emphasize how friction helps, once again I have shown gears. Gears are surface to surface, they are working on the principle of friction. Here is another very different example. This is a pipe, a cross section of a pipe. Within this pipe there will be fluid flowing. Now if the surface of this pipe is very smooth, what will happen? The fluid will be able to flow very fast inside the pipe. But if the surface is serrated, if there is a lot of obstruction, what will happen? The flow of the fluid is not going to be smooth in the pipes. Another very glaring example. How much of energy goes into putting the spaceship in the space? So much of fuel, so much of effort in order to push it. Why so? Because it has to resist the atmospheric friction. Therefore, if we are able to understand and control friction as much as possible, we will be able to reduce the amount of energy, the amount of work, and therefore the amount of fuel and the cost of running our day-to-day systems by controlling the friction. Always remember, friction in most cases reduces efficiency and therefore it increases the work. What is that additional work? The additional work is always required to overcome the friction. Any system is going to give friction, and in order to overcome the friction, you have to put in extra amount of work. In some instances, you use friction to advantage. What is that advantage? Very simple example, brake. When you want to stop something, you have to brake. Now, if your friction is present in that case, then you have to apply less amount of brake. These are the various brakes. If you have not seen them in your motorbikes or cars, this is what it looks like inside. Now here the brake is going to try and stop this wheel from turning. So as much more friction as you are able to exert, your brake is working very well. The amount of work required in braking becomes less, and therefore in this particular instance we are using friction to our advantage. What happens in this case is we are trying to maximize friction. So this is an example of where do you maximize? In case of brakes, clutches, belt drives and wedges. We'll come to wedges probably in the next few slides. So the important thing to remember is efficiency is improved by increasing friction, and therefore work is reduced in this case. So always remember, friction is a friend as well as foe. If you try to increase friction in the wrong place, you are increasing the work. If you try to increase friction in the right place, you are reducing the work. So these are the good examples. Friend, friction is being used as a friend in case of our belt drives. This is a typical example of your motorbikes, your bicycles. Another very good example where friction is used to advantage, where it acts as a friend. Supposing you have to move this large and very heavy box over certain surfaces. Very difficult if you just try to push it as it is. But as you must have always seen, any workers trying to lift very heavy boxes will always put some wedge. That wedge is going to help the movement of this box, and therefore very intelligent engineers have designed various kinds of wedges. Just put the wedge in place. This is a wedge which can also have different inclinations. This is a small wedge. Here you can adjust the inclination of the wedge, adjust how much friction you want to give. Because if you see this example, if this box were just pushed up this incline, and if there were no such serrations, if there were no such wedges, what would happen? It would slip back. It would hurt you. It would crush your feet. Or it would be so heavy that you just can't push it up.